So I'll be changing up the kind of format of the YouTube channel in a little bit here, mostly due to the circumstances going on in my life right now. So just kind of taking a step back and doing a broad recap. In August of 2016, I was living in Oahu, Hawaii, and I was on a motorcycle, just completely stopped waiting to turn, and I got rear-ended. And in this accident, my left leg got crushed between the bike and the car. This resulted in about 15 surgeries over the past 3 years, basically like Humpty Dumpty trying to put me back together. After 3 years, 15 surgeries, there's just not much going on with the leg. Still can't put weight on it, still have a lot of issues with swelling and with nerve damage. So the leg brace that I currently wear was developed in San Antonio, Texas at the Center for the Intrepid. It was designed by a military prosthetist who now works for Hanger Clinic, which is sort of like a nationwide chain of prosthetic offices. So now this brace is finally on the civilian market. It's done a lot of good, and I can at least walk with this thing on, but there's been a lot of things I haven't been able to do since the accident. I've not been able to go snowboarding again. I've not been able to go mountain biking again. I haven't been able to hike long distance. Camping was a pain in the ass. About the only thing I can do right now, aside from walking, is ride motorcycles. So getting back on the bike was a huge part of my recovery, but this will be the next step in my recovery, no pun intended. So on Thursday, I'll be getting my left leg amputated below the knee, and I plan to basically vlog about the entire experience. There are a couple videos out there, there's a couple YouTube channels with some alright information on living with amputation, but really there's only like 1 or 2 channels that I've found that kind of step you through the whole process of why you made the decision to amputate, and basically day by day or a week by week of here's what living with this is like, here's my challenge that I'm overcoming today, and basically stepping you through a day in the life of. The 2 channels that I know specifically, one of them is Left Legged Warrior. He's actually also in Texas. I believe he's up in Dallas. And the other would be Andrew Montgomery. I've reached out to both of them on occasion. Both of them are pretty cool. If you haven't seen Andrew's channel or seen any of his videos, he doesn't have too many videos out there, but what he does have is incredibly motivational. I mean, here's this guy who basically was a gymnast. He gets into a very similar accident as mine and winds up losing his leg below the knee as well. And he wound up doing basically a mini documentary of every single day that he was in the hospital. He was in the hospital for about a week, and his videos just go day by day of here's what the doctors came in and told me today, and on like the 2nd or 3rd video they're talking amputation, and by the end of it he's getting out of the hospital and learning to walk again. And he doesn't really have any videos of his recovery, but he does have a video of just 1 year after his amputation. And I won't give any spoilers, but I will link to it. And it is one of, if not the most motivational video I've ever seen when it comes to amputation. So what I'm hoping to do over the next few months is basically keep my camera on me, keep recording the good times, the bad times, and just explain how I'm feeling in that moment, what I'm doing. Basically just to show that you're not alone if you're going through similar or just going through your own tough shit. There's other people going through stuff, and you always have people you can talk to and people who will help support you. So once I'm done with recovery, I'm not quite sure what direction I'll take from there with the channel. I guess it really just depends on where I am in life and what I'm doing at the time. I may focus more on travel. I may go back to motorcycle content. There will be a few months where I won't have a leg, so I won't be able to ride, but as soon as I get a prosthetic, I plan on throwing the leg back over the bike, and it's definitely going to get recorded on camera. So there'll be some motorcycle content, there'll be some travel content, there'll be a lot of physical therapy content over the next few months. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. So the past 6 months, I've had a lot of time for reflection. Back in December, I left Arizona. I moved back to my hometown in Kentucky and lived back at home while I underwent a shoulder surgery. I had a torn labrum that had never gotten taken care of, so got that dealt with. And I did a lot of traveling. I went on a road trip through northeastern Canada and the northeastern US in the middle of March. So it was absolutely covered in snow. I went to Florida twice. I made a trip to Texas, a few trips to Tennessee. I went to Asheville, North Carolina. And in my travels, there was just a lot of time to sit and reflect on where I've been in life and where I'm going. And I also made a point to seek out people that I personally found inspirational and tried to meet them if I could. Two such individuals. The first one I met back in March on the Canada trip. On my way back down from Canada, I stopped by the Washington, D.C. area, and I got to meet a guy named Jason Stern. His name on Instagram is @barbelljason. I can link that as well, maybe up here or something. But he is prior service Army, got out in the early 2000s. And he also lost his leg below the knee. And he is now on the U.S. Paralympic bobsled team. He runs his own CrossFit gym. The guy's just an all-around badass and doesn't let his leg ever set him back or get him down. The other person that I met during a motorcycle trip that I went on all down the West Coast with some friends, in Santa Monica, California, I had the pleasure of attending one of Josh Sundquist's stand-up shows. If you've never heard of him, I would highly suggest looking him up. He lost his leg at the age of 10 or so to cancer, and he's a left leg above the knee amputee, and he doesn't wear a prosthetic, but he gets around on forearm crutches. And he basically worked his ass off and became a U.S. Paralympic skier. So here's two Paralympians that I've met in the past 6 months, both of who are a big inspiration of mine. Just following them, listening to their videos, reading up on them has been a huge motivating factor in pushing me forward, and really has been relieving. Most people in my situation would be freaking out at the prospect of amputation, and yet here are two glowing examples that there's life beyond getting your leg cut off, and that there's no reason a surgery like that should ever set you back in life. So the other person who's been a huge inspiration of mine throughout this whole situation has been my own mom, actually. Back in 2004, we were in a severe accident with a motorhome. I could post up some pictures, but we got hit by a drunk driver while going down the freeway. And the motorhome was pushed into the median and rolled over, and the whole thing was demolished. One of those accidents that nobody should have survived, and yet with 5 people in there, somehow we all lived. My mom's injuries were, beyond what normal medical technology at the time could have even handled. Luckily, we were close enough to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and the doctors and surgeons there literally saved her life. But throughout her whole recovery, my dad constantly reminded my mom that she was expected to make a full recovery. And about a year after the accident, she had a follow-up at the Mayo Clinic. And she goes to this follow-up, and the doctors and the nurses are freaking out like, this is a medical miracle, you shouldn't be walking right now. And my mom, she doesn't know what they're talking about, and she gets upset. And she looks at my dad and she says, what are they talking about? You said I was expected to make a full recovery. And my dad told her, I never said the doctors said that. So it's almost been like a mantra with our family that healing is 90% mental and only 10% physical. Yes, the physical component is there. You can only do so much, but if you're not in the right mindset, even if you have the best doctors and the best surgeons and the best physical therapists that money can provide, you're not going to make a good recovery. So no matter what, it's important to be of that mindset. I'm very fortunate that my parents are in a position where they can both kind of be here for me. I know a lot of people aren't as fortunate. They have a single parent or divorced parents, or their parents are working 1 or 2 full-time jobs and bills are tight. Really, I've been very, very fortunate throughout this whole situation. My parents run their own business. Basically, they can both be here for my surgery. My mom can stay with me as long as I need. So she's flying in right now. I'm waiting in line to pick her up. But she's gonna stay with me, basically help me cook, but for the most part, push me to be more self-reliant. But right now I probably shouldn't be recording.